My best friend sent me a final text before attempting suicide. The river's so cold. This is goodbye. I rushed to the location shown in her photo and jumped in to save her. Just as we were about to reach the life ring thrown by bystanders, she shoved me away. Ivy. She gasped. I'm pregnant with John's baby. I can't let my child be born a secret. She grabbed the life ring and was pulled to safety while I sank beneath the icy current. When rescuers dragged my body ashore, my fading consciousness heard Emily tearfully telling reporters she pushed me toward shore with her last strength. I'll honor her memory by caring for her daughter and husband. Meanwhile, my 3-year-old Lily clung to my lifeless body, screaming, "Mommy! I want my mommy!" I'd let my daughter grow up motherless because of this toxic friend. Once Emily gave birth, she'd inevitably become the wicked stepmother to my Lily. My eyes stayed open in death's bitter regret. Then miraculously, I reopened my eyes to the moment Emily's suicide text arrived. Lily snuggled in my arms, begging, "Mommy, finish the princess story." I tossed my phone aside, tucking her blanket tighter. "The prince and princess got married and had a beautiful angel like you," I whispered, sparing her the ugly truth of infidelity. "Night, Mommy," Lily murmured, planting a sticky kiss on my cheek. "Sweet dreams, Lily," I answered, closing her bedroom door with renewed determination. This time, I wouldn't play the hero. Let Emily's drama unfold without me. Last life. I'd instantly replied to her text and raced to the river with Lily in tow, only to make my toddler witness my drowning. Now when Emily called demanding, "Ivy, did you see my message?" I calmly lied. "Bad reception. I'm putting Lily to bed. Call John if it's urgent. Let her contact the husband currently cheating in a hotel room." Last time, Emily's crisis had prevented me from catching John red-handed. The universe granted me the second chance to protect Lily's future. As predicted, Emily stammered in shock when I suggested contacting John. Our friendship had always maintained strict boundaries around him. I hung up before she could respond. Though newly aware of their affair and secret pregnancy, death had granted me icy clarity. My priority became safeguarding Lily's well-being and securing our assets. I dialed the anonymous number that originally sent John's hotel photos. When they declined the call, a new message appeared, followed by, "Your husband's been sleeping with his assistant for 8 months. They meet every Thursday at the Hilton." Another text arrived, "Emily Davis is 14 weeks pregnant. John Wilson's the father. They plan to tell you after the gender reveal." My fingers trembled not from anger, but exhilaration. This anonymous ally had given me the weapons to destroy them both. I began screenshotting every incriminating message. My lawyer's number already dialing. From the nursery monitor, Lily's soft snores reminded me what truly mattered. This time, the river would claim its intended victim and I'd be holding the life preserver of evidence when it did. Don't ask, I'm just a morally uptight do-gooder. Get to room 5006 at the Radisson Hotel now while they're still there. I can't leave my daughter home alone. But I need to confirm John's cheating. Solid evidence will help me secure custody of Lily. Luckily, I knew Sarah and her husband. The unknown number earlier must have been someone from John's company, probably his rival. As a top executive handling shady deals for his CEO, John's made plenty of enemies in the corporate power struggles. This leak about his affair is clearly a play to use me, the clueless housewife, as their pawn. Can't afford to panic now, it'd ruin my own plans. I called Sarah's husband, claiming she was wasted and causing a scene at the hotel. Then I texted my brother to stake out the room secretly and film whatever happened. While waiting, Emily called twice more, threatening to jump into the river if I didn't meet her within 5 minutes, another performance. I played along, then checked TikTok's local feed. Right on schedule. Footage showed her attempted suicide, flailing dramatically before grabbing a life buoy. Pathetic. She even vomited bile afterward. though her venomous glare at the camera proved she hadn't swallowed enough river water to shut her up. My brother's video arrived next. John and Sarah stumbled out, only to get pummeled by her taekwondo instructor husband. John took the worst hits, face bruised, takeout bag shoved over his head as an extra humiliation. Then the camera shook violently as a familiar shoe, the ones I'd bought my brother, kicked John square in the groin. His blood-curdling scream almost made me pity him. Almost. When my brother ranted on the phone about rescuing Lily and me, I cut him off. Stand down. The show's just starting. The door beeped. I fixed my smile as John shuffled in, face swollen like a rotten pumpkin. Taekwondo black belts don't mess around. Honey! I gasped, cradling his battered jaw. What happened? He turned away, muttering. Some fired exec ambushed me in the parking garage, fetching an ice pack. I tooted. Your CEO works you too hard. No security? It's inhuman. John sighed. Tell me about it. Maybe I should send you and Lily abroad before my dirty work backfires. Abroad, where he'd screw his mistresses freely without Lily's cries interrupting. Oh, I'd grant his freedom, but not before making him choke on it. I squeezed his shoulder. You're right, darling. We should discuss this. Moving abroad could work, but Lily's education and living expenses overseas would definitely be substantial. John pondered for a moment before saying, Here's what we'll do. With the company's stock at its peak, I'll sell all my shares to cash out. You handle the finances, put some in stable investments and leave the rest for my startup fund. I probably won't stay at this job much longer. I'd been waiting for him to say exactly that. Before becoming a housewife, I'd worked at a securities firm. After quitting, John had handed over all his bank cards to keep me content at home. Using my professional skills, I'd consistently grown our family assets by 8% annually, earning John's complete trust in financial matters. The only reason I remained patient with him now was waiting for the stock liquidation. Once that money hit our account, I'd make him regret every life choice. The stock proceeds cleared quickly. I liquidated all investments and divided the money into two portions. One bought high-value insurance policies for Lily. The other purchased 10 prime location properties across major cities, all gifted and registered under Lily's name. Acquiring these properties required 3 months of nationwide travel with my daughter. Throughout this period, I ignored every call and message from Emily. By the time we returned, Emily's pregnancy had become impossible to conceal. The longer she waited, the riskier termination became. Desperation stripped away her pretenses. She confronted me immediately after our homecoming. You already know, don't you? She said, hand resting on her bump. I'm carrying John's child. During our travels, she'd flooded social media with photos of herself and John, followed by confession texts. I truly considered ending it all that day. She continued, but realized my baby's innocence. You might think me shameless, the woman you gifted matching handbags, now sleeping with your husband. But John doesn't love you anymore. He says you've become vapid and tedious since becoming a housewife, completely lacking intellectual connection. If it wasn't me, it would be someone else. Since you'll lose him anyway, why not concede gracefully, even having survived my own darkest hour? Her words sent blood roaring through my temples. I threw my coffee in her face. If you recognize your shamelessness, why justify it? My daughter's innocence didn't stop you from fucking my husband. Wiping coffee from her eyelashes, she smiled. A small price to pay for claiming a high-value man like John. High value? How ironic that wealth becomes a man's primary attraction. I wondered if she'd still consider him high value when bankrupt and unemployed. That revelation would come while preparing for divorce. I needed John to initiate proceedings for strategic advantage. My willingness to withdraw the petition could become leverage. He might stall, but Emily's pregnancy clock was ticking. My plan targeted John's greatest weakness, his mother. Despite her constant mistreatment, John always insisted, "She's my mother, endure it." Now I'd weaponize her melodramatic tactics against him. Arriving at Mrs. Wilson's home with gifts, I overheard her boasting to friends, frankly, "With my son's wealth, we need a male heir. Should our fortune become some girl's dowry?" That stubborn mule Ivy refused more children after one daughter. What use is a woman who won't bear sons? I've told John's mistresses, whoever delivers a grandson enters our family. That female PhD is 4 months along with a boy. Smart genes. My grandson will be brilliant. We're relocating Ivy and the girl overseas. Though I say just divorce her. John's too soft. Citing her sacrificed career. Imagine the prestige, divorcing that barren woman to marry a doctor bearing my grandson. The porcelain vase I carried shattered on the marble entryway. All conversation ceased as 12 pairs of eyes turned to me. Mrs. Wilson's rouge-caked face paled beneath her powder. Relocating us? I laughed coldly. How thoughtful. But we've just returned from 3 months abroad. Walking past the frozen gathering, I placed new car keys beside John's mother. For your future grandson, the Lamborghini he'll need for preschool commutes. The door slammed behind me, leaving stunned silence. My phone buzzed immediately, John's 3rd missed call today. I silenced it, smiling. Let the Wilsons marinate in chaos. Their reckoning would come, but on my timeline. For now, Lily and I had 10 properties to furnish. Emily probably never imagined that after working her way up to a PhD, people would only value her for her womb. I pushed the door open with a devastated expression, deliberately dropping the gifts in my hands. Trembling like a leaf, I confronted Mrs. Wilson. "Mom, what did you just say? Marry some PhD candidate? So that's why John kept pressuring me to take Lily abroad. He's been cheating." My voice cracked dramatically. "I'll never leave this country. You need to control your son. Or else." Spotting the kitchen knife on the table, I seized it and slammed the blade into the wood. "This family won't survive unless he dies or I live." The metallic clang made Mrs. Wilson drop her phone. "Ivy, let's talk this through," she squeaked, backing against the wall. Watching my domineering mother-in-law of 4 years shrink into a terrified mouse, I realized proper manners meant nothing to bullies. Sometimes you have to out-crazy the crazy. Pressing the knife closer, I made her stammer promises about reforming John until I finally relented. The moment I left, her shrill voice carried through the door, "Divorce that lunatic Ivy. She knows everything." True to form, John came crawling back days later reeking of Emily's perfume. Rubbing his temples like I was the problem, he sighed, "Why can't you be like other wives? I give you and Lily everything. Just take the easy life abroad." As if our failed marriage was my tantrum, not his affairs. But my goal was never apologies, it was annihilation. I played the reluctant divorcee, securing full custody without protest. During the cooling-off period, we moved into Lily's 3-bedroom condo, conveniently under her name, while I interviewed at John's company. Landing the assistant position to Mike, John's professional nemesis who'd anonymously sent those hotel photos, felt poetic. John's face twisted when he saw me. "Ivy, you blew your chance." I sweetly stepped behind Mike. "Mr. Wilson, I'm Director Taylor's new assistant now." His sneer about collecting trash died when my knee met his groin. The satisfying crunch echoed through the office as colleagues gathered. "Just settling some divorce paperwork," I announced, dusting my hands. A coworker whispered excitedly, "Everyone hates him and Sarah. We've got a betting pool on when he'll marry his mistress." Oh, but Sarah didn't know John's wedding to Emily was already set. When Saturday came, not a single colleague received invitations, least of all his darling assistant. The Wilson family's dirty laundry would stay neatly folded until I decided to shake it out. I forwarded the wedding invitation for John Wilson from my ex-mother-in-law's social media to Sarah Brown and most colleagues at the company. This wasn't easy. I spent half my day adding contacts from the corporate directory and messaging them individually. I even rented 2 charter buses out of pocket to transport colleagues from headquarters to the venue. The hastily arranged decorations and chaos revealed the rushed preparations. John stood at the hotel entrance with Emily, 5 months pregnant, greeting guests. My ex-mother-in-law glowed while introducing Emily to relatives as a first-time bride carrying a son. And a PhD candidate too. She basked in their admiration until spotting me disembarking with dozens of colleagues. Her smile vanished. I approached her sweetly. As Emily's best friend. How could I miss this? She hissed. Ivy. Don't you dare ruin my son's wedding. Both John and Emily tensed. Little did they know I wasn't here to make trouble, just to watch their perfect day implode. John's real problem emerged when Sarah stepped off the second bus, weaving through colleagues with predatory grace. Oblivious Emily shot me triumphant looks while Sarah closed in. As Emily focused on me, Sarah lunged at her bump with both hands. The Wilsons scrambled to catch Emily, but she already sprawled on the pavement like an overturned turtle. Sarah ripped off her stilettos, aiming the spikes at Emily's face. You think you can steal my man after I divorced him? Over 100 colleagues watched as the catfight escalated. John screamed for help until Sarah's kick left blood spreading under Emily's gown. The ex-mother-in-law fainted when she saw the miscarriage. Colleagues helped by tripping John as he carried Emily toward the ambulance, both crashing face-first into gravel. Mike murmured beside me. I knew hiring you meant nuclear options. Headquarters will fire John after this spectacle. I handed him my badge. Later. Mike. Using me and tossing me aside? He chuckled. Why keep expired assets? I shrugged. We both got what we wanted. Driving to the hospital later, I found the Wilsons clustered outside maternity ICU. My ex-mother-in-law gripped Lily's wrist brutally. My daughter wailed. Mommy! Grandma's hurting me. As I charged toward them, my ex-mother-in-law suddenly slapped Lily across the face, screaming, If my grandson isn't safe, I'll make you pay with your life. The mother's debt falls on the daughter. Did you think I wouldn't figure out your mom orchestrated this disaster today? All the composure I'd maintained since kindergarten evaporated instantly. They could hit me, but touching Lily was unforgivable. I grabbed 2 disposable syringes from the nurse's station, tearing the packaging open with my teeth. Before they could react, I started jabbing wildly at my ex-mother-in-law. She's your own granddaughter. How could you? I screamed, needle flashing. John turned pale at the sight of blood, retreating while his father tried wresting the syringe from me, only to get 3 bleeding gashes across his cheek. The old hag's arms bloomed dozens of pinpricks, her face dotted with bloody beads. I'd held back from disfiguring her like her husband, if only because attacking another woman felt wrong. Their shrieks filled the corridor until doctors wheeled Emily out from her examination. The baby had been saved. Shoving Lily into my arms, my ex-mother-in-law hissed. Consider yourselves lucky my grandson survived. Stay away from the Wilson family. I cradled my trembling daughter, wiping her tears. We're going home, sweetheart. Lily's small hand patted my wet cheek. Don't cry, Mommy. I'm brave. My brother arrived then, fists clenched to punch John until I stopped him. He's not worth jail time, I whispered. As we turned to leave, Emily's weak voice called out. Ivy? Can we talk? I handed Lily to my brother. Alone in the VIP suite, Emily finally spoke after long silence. I know sleeping with John was wrong, but you never told me about Sarah. Let's call it even? Please. Ivy. I miss our friendship, buying each other books, supporting through hard times. Memories surfaced despite myself, shared laughter. Midnight study sessions. The way she brought soup when I had pneumonia. But so did the image of her car accelerating toward me last winter. It's too late, I said evenly. But take my advice, leave John while you can. Tears spilled down her bruised face. I'm 6 months pregnant. Without his money, how can I finish my PhD? Raise a child alone? Her hand trembled over her belly. Tell me, Ivy, how many others besides Sarah? I don't care anymore. I walked out, keeping silent about the financial ruin awaiting John. Some lessons needed first-hand learning. Months later, Lily and I found our rhythm. Her trust fund properties generated steady income, while our new family farm outside town became popular for weekend getaways. Today brought an unexpected visitor, Mike, squinting in the sunlight as his wife taught their daughter to transplant seedlings nearby. Still hate dirt, Mike? I teased, handing him sunscreen. The man who'd once fired me for refusing his advances now flushed pink, scrambling to help his giggling daughter water tomato plants. Lily's laughter carried from the pumpkin patch where she taught city kids to milk goats. Watching her, I finally understood, some storms leave clearer skies in their wake. You just focus on paying the bill. The fun stuff is up to me and Lily. Mike watched us bustling around with contentment. So happy families do exist, it's just not everyone's luck to be born into one. Mike leaned closer, gossip sparking in his eyes. Did you hear? Sarah got into a car accident. She's still in the ICU. I nodded. Saw it on TikTok. John's other 2 mistresses had accidents recently. He lowered his voice. Your friend's playing this smart. Cops haven't found solid leads yet. If Emily wanted someone dead, she'd make it untraceable. I'd learned that the hard way when she'd murdered me. I used to admire her relentless drive. Never imagined how terrifying that persistence could become when weaponized. You should be careful, Mike started. But my phone rang. John's name flashed on screen. Ivy. Have you lost your damn mind? He screamed. Why are all the safety deposit box cards empty? During our divorce, he'd confiscated every bank card and emptied my investment accounts. What he didn't know, I'd liquidated those funds months earlier to buy insurance policies and a house under Lily's name. The remaining cash in his wallet? Between Emily's VIP maternity suite and their lavish wedding, I'd bet he'd burned through it all. Where's my fucking money? He roared. Emily's delivering any day now. I can't even cover the hospital deposit. I chuckled softly. I'm not an ATM, John. I hung up mid-tirade. Turning to Mike, I asked, did the firm finally fire him? Months ago. He grinned. Reputation's trash, can't get hired anywhere. That's why I warned you. Knew you'd leave him penniless. Not entirely. His mother would sell her diamond rings to fund that precious grandson. Sure enough. 2 days later, the Wilson family matriarch flooded social media with newborn photos, #blessedwithair. The court summons arrived a month later. John sued to reclaim the marital assets I'd used for Lily's property. My lawyer, the best divorce attorney in state, received every shred of evidence, hotel receipts, surveillance footage, burner phone records. Emily showed up at my farm before her postpartum stitches dissolved. Ivy. Please. She wept. Mascara streaking. As mothers, shouldn't we save it? I cut her off. The Ivy who fell for your tears died in that car wreck. Her face hardened. You'll regret this. Looking forward to it. The Wilson matriarch came howling next. How dare that worthless girl inherit our family fortune? I smiled, watching security escort her out. Lily's trust fund was already growing, compound interest works wonders. Let them scream. Let them sue. The ashes of my old life made fertile soil for new beginnings. We'd sell the shirts off our backs to fight this lawsuit to the end and make them cough up every penny. Pretending to fetch water. I dumped a basinful on Emily who'd been howling dramatically at my doorstep, turning her into a drenched rat. Only then did she slink away. She hadn't lied. John really sold his house and hired a top divorce attorney to battle us. They were gambling everything they had this time, burning their bridges behind them. The trial wasn't even close. The judge ruled against them in the first hearing. Our lawyer explained parental gifts are nearly impossible to revoke. The only reason this case had legs was the astronomical sum involved, giving the other side false hope. But after I exposed John and Emily's schemes online, the viral outrage shifted public opinion. Half the internet rallied behind Lily and me, handing us the narrative advantage. True to form, John and Emily appealed immediately. Before the second hearing could start, police arrested Emily on first-degree murder charges. Coincidentally, her postpartum grace period had just ended. They couldn't even scrounge up a pretext for bail. John lost again in appellate court. Homeless, jobless, and broken, he climbed the city's tallest skyscraper that same afternoon and jumped. Emily met swifter justice, convicted of 3 murders. She got the death penalty with immediate execution. The Wilson family was devastated. But suicide wasn't an option. They still had a newborn grandson to raise. You know what I told them? 2 words: serves them right.